We are joined this week by the one and only Jon Russell, all-round good guy, champion of champions, people person, power platform guy. Jon, what is it like to be on the other side of the blooming desk, mate? I'm going to interview you this time.
It's all right, to be honest. It's I just like talking, so I'm absolutely fine with it, and I love talking with you anytime. It's always good. So yeah, fine, thank you.
Cracking. Right then, let's cut to the chase. What exactly is ADHD, and what does it mean for you personally? How does it manifest, Jon?
So I'll start off with pre-medication, and we'll talk about post-medication maybe later on.
Yeah.
So pre-medication, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and depression, and was on sertraline medication, and still am on sertraline medication. I've been for I don't know, since 2017. Kind of triggered when we were having our first baby, Esme, who was born in 2016. And yeah, I've got a bit of a tricky, what could I say, tricky father situation. Don't really have one. I mean, he's alive, but yeah, he's not too good. So I was trying to make myself polar opposite to him, which was pretty exhausting, to be honest. And I didn't really realize how much of a toll that was taking on me. And yeah, had a bit of a, probably I would say, looking back, probably a bit of a mental health breakdown at the end of 2017. Ended up quitting my job at Amazon, moved to another job, which was really good. But 2018 was very patchy work wise. Um, I had a lot of mental health challenges that year. Um, and then kind of started coming out of that. I still had the occasional blip and the occasional panic attack, which, for anyone who hasn't had a panic attack, I know, Mark, you've spoken to me about that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't really know what's going on. And even now, I haven't had one for quite a while, thankfully. But um, when the last time I had one, I was in a previous job in an office, and it just happened, and I didn't know really what was going on. And people were asking me, are you okay? I think you need to go back to your hotel and stuff. So yeah, and then at this previous company, I was part of the mental health and wellbeing team, and a couple of people there. I'll shout her name out. I know she won't ever see this because she's not Capgemini, but a lady called Amy Hemingway. She kind of championed getting our Aviva private healthcare to take on the neurodivergent pathway. And I believe that company was the first company to offer that. And we were one of the first companies to offer it to people with private health insurance. So I was kind of sitting there and like on calls and stuff, fiddling away with stuff like I normally do. And Amy said to me on a call, Jon, have you ever thought you might have ADHD? And I was like, no, not really. I don't think so. Um, and I kind of came off that. And then I went and spoke to my wife, Katie, and I said, that's funny. Amy's just said to me that she thinks I might have ADHD. And I've been married to Katie for 11 years. And she's like, well, I did think maybe you might have. I was like, what? How come you never said anything
Always the
before?
last to know for it.
Yeah. So I went through the kind of private healthcare process. I got diagnosed that way. That was all, from asking the question to getting diagnosed was 6 weeks, which is crazy, really, considering some parts of the country on the NHS you have to wait 8 years, and that's in normally Devon and Dorset. Um, and I at the time I didn't think it was worth me going on medication. Um, I think I kind of like got into my head that medication probably wasn't the right move for me. Um, anyway, as that kind of diagnosis kind of triggered it felt like it triggered more of the effects of ADHD for me,
Mm.
because it was like a period of self realization that I had that, and that the reason why I react to things like I do, or the periods of overwhelm that I get into, it was obviously to do with that. And they seem to be getting exacerbated. There was constant friction at like really minor things, like going to school in the morning. The girls would get ready by the door, and I just couldn't be in the same space as them, because it was frantic, it was hectic, and I just couldn't deal with that. And it got to the point where I would be taken to the school most days and just sitting in the car and being completely silent, and um, like kind of disconnected really from everything apart from probably driving the car, which, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So then the other thing, and we spoke about it before, is this rejection sensitivity stuff. It's
Yeah.
absolutely horrendous. Um, I'll give you an example of that. Like, I really, really want a dog. I've wanted a dog for a long time, and money wise and things, it's just not the right time. And I had a conversation with my wife about, getting a dog before I had ADHD medication, and it turned into a really big argument. And I just felt like I just felt crushed, basically.
Mm.
Um, but the problem with RSD is, sorry, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, or RSD, is that the way it manifests itself is that it really kind of attacks your subconscious. So it could be anything. I could be having a conversation with someone on Teams, and they'll say, "Can just even the words okay sometimes are triggering for me." Um, and it was getting worse, and it was getting worse, and it was getting worse. And I just thought, right, okay, I need to do something about this. Um, tried to go through, because I'd already had that private healthcare assessment. Tried to go through NHS with that assessment, but they wouldn't. That's a whole other story. But it was just a minefield. And then I found out about ADHD 360, and that they do right to choose. Um, and I was able to get seen by them within about 6 month period, and I've been on medication since
Yeah. Yeah.
25th of October last year.
Yeah. Well, we'll come to the medication bit because I think that is the light at the end of the tunnel. But
Yeah.
the RSD kind of resonates with me just now. As you know, I'm going through this journey with my own son who's had a recent assessment diagnosis. And me and my wife had to go on a course. Well, we didn't have to. We went on a course to support him. And we've had to completely flip how we deal with Jack, my son. And instead of saying things like, Jack, your room's a mess, could you tidy it up? We cannot say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
For two reasons. I can't say to him, your room's a mess, because that is just too generic, too vague. I can say, pick up your clothes and put them in the basket. And then once he's done that, make your bed. And then once he's done that, put away all your Xbox stuff. I can't just give him that one thing because it's too
Yeah.
overwhelming for him. But the rejection sensitivity manifests in Jack. If I say your room's a mess, that turns into this. Uh, yeah, it's a real frantic episode. So we have
Yeah.
to say things like, "Hi Jack, do you think?" So we have to flip it round. Do you think your room is as tidy as you'd like it to be? And
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
and get him on side and on board a bit. But yeah, that's what we're finding just now. So I'm interested in the challenges you face at work then.
So again, before medication, I never really had an off switch. So, I mean, luckily for Capgemini, and luckily for me, I'm very passionate about Power Platform. I kind of like eat, sleep, breathe it really, and consulting. And, we've talked about essential skills and stuff, and I love all of that. But if I get stuck, if I get into a problem, I won't really leave. I wouldn't really leave it alone. Uh, Mainly because in my head, I think I'm going to forget how to do this when I come back to it tomorrow.
Hmm.
That was the main feeling really that I felt pretty much every time. And yeah, that's not healthy. And yeah, so the impulsivity bit, that's It's an interesting one as well. I'm like I wake up on a Saturday morning. We've got no plans to do anything, and I'll be like, okay, let's go to Brighton. And obviously that's not realistic. I mean, 3 hours away from Brighton, the girls are going to go crazy in the car. But then if there's something planned in the diary as well, that can also be a little bit like a bit of a flashpoint because it's not spontaneous enough for me to get dopamine from it. So in work, I think I'm able to see like from a bird's eye view a problem, and I can explain it to people that potentially don't understand it in non-technical terms, and I know a lot of people can do that. I'm also got this really innate sense of justice. So if I think something is being done to someone that I think is not right, then I'm very vocal about it, and I'll fight the corner to that person till the end of days. And that can be anything. And then the other thing is hyperfocus. I wouldn't say I'm very inattentive. I'm inattentive on stuff that I really am not passionate about. That's true. So before the medication, I hardly ever used to take the bins out. Now I know it's a needs to a must, so I've got to take the bins out. So that's okay. But it's just something that I wouldn't be I just wouldn't be bothered doing, and I just wouldn't do it. But yeah, the hyperfocus bit is a blessing and a curse. It can be really good, and it can be not so good depending on what that hyperfocus is. But yeah, I'm lucky that especially here at Capgemini, I feel very supportive. I feel like I can say to people that I have ADHD.
But yeah, it's safe to say Capgemini is one of the most inclusive places I've ever worked at.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
it's a cracking place in that respect. I was going to ask you about time management. Is that an issue for you?
No, because I'm so when I first got diagnosed by the private psychiatrist, I was telling her all these things that I do. Like I live and die by a calendar. I've got a calendar in front of me. I've got my calendar on my phones. I've got a calendar on my laptop. Yeah. We've got a shared calendar between me and Katie, and it's to the point where if it's not in the calendar, it's not happening. So we are, and luckily for me, my wife is very organized as well. Maybe we are organized to a fault sometimes, but this is what the psychiatrist said at the time. These are all these coping mechanisms that you've put in place. And because you've been doing it for so long, it's your normal, which is why you probably didn't realize that you had ADHD.
Yeah. So the psychiatrist that's dealing with Jack told me about time management being a general issue across ND. Yeah. And he said it's because basically ADHD, that you've only got 2 drawers in your filing cabinet. It's now or later. Yeah. And if it's not now, it gets filed later. And then it becomes an issue because that becomes now at some point, and you've got this muddle of stuff. And that's where the kind of overwhelm and, that exhaustion can come in.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So what are some of the misconceptions around ADHD? And I'm going to throw a phrase at you that I know is going to wind you up. Isn't everyone a little ADHD?
No, they're not. I think one of the misconceptions is, and I felt like this especially in my younger years when I didn't realize I had it, but obviously rejection sensitivity was a big problem, is that people just didn't really understand that. And it is a lot to understand. I get it. I mean, I don't truly understand it 100% myself, but I'll give you an example. I met up, it was after COVID, met up with our family. I come from Deal in Kent, originally on the coast. We went to a restaurant, and I really wanted to sit next to my mum because I hadn't seen my mum for a long time, and she knew that, and she came in and she just didn't sit next to me. She went and sat somewhere else, and it was like like someone had poured lava down my throat. Like it was just brutal. And I know that that's probably an overreaction. So instead of dealing with it head on, I just go on mute basically and don't say anything. And that's basically what happened.
So you're
So,
masking quite a lot.
Sorry?
Masking.
Yeah. Especially around RSD. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting one. Sorry, I'm trying to relate to my own situation with my lad, and you've helped me immensely.
Oh, nice. Thanks for that.
Let's get on to the good stuff. Medication.
Yeah.
What's that been like for you?
Honestly, life-changing, really. And I don't say that. I know that's probably a bit cliche, but it has been. And so on the first day that I took it, I was sitting. I'd taken it, sat on the sofa, and I just looked over to my wife and I said, "I'm going out for a walk," and she went, "Okay." So I got up and I went out. Now, that's never really happened, because I would think, can I go for a walk? Should I go for a walk?
Yeah.
The girls are here. The girls need feeding. Can I have enough time for myself? Is that fair to go outside, for an hour for a walk? Isn't Katie going to get cross with me? And it would, ruminate and ruminate and ruminate. But I just got up and I walked out the house and I said, I'm going for a walk. And then I got into this. I live in a place called Pitstone, which is got the country's oldest windmill in it. And I was walking past the windmill, and I just stopped in this middle of the field, and I could hear cars going past, and I could hear like some birds, and I could hear some wind in the trees, and I was like, oh, the noise is gone. And it was like I'd had that for like 46 years.
Yeah.
And it was like someone had turned off the TV that was playing white noise. And I was like, whoa, okay. And that was the first day. That was 6 hours after I'd taken the medication.
Oh, okay.
And not on a very big dose either, because I upped the dose a couple of times.
Yeah.
And now it's the executive functioning, which is the main reason why people suffer with ADHD. And I am, before I wouldn't even send people ideas that I'm having, because I would fear that they would be rejected and they would fail. Now, Stuart Wright, he must be annoyed with me by now, because I am on his case and suggesting things, suggesting ideas. And yeah, some of them don't land. Absolutely, some of them don't land, but some of them have landed and are landing. And I'm much more of a confident person and able to, in a way, stick up for myself and look after myself and look out for my interests a bit more. Yeah.
Brilliant to hear. I'm just going to finish on that very note. On the medication, as you know, we speak a lot, and my Jack had his first dose only 2 Saturdays ago, and it was, let's do it on a Saturday to make sure there's no reaction, and give him his capsule. And I looked away and looked back, and it was like he'd been exorcised. It was like a mask had been pulled off him and the wrinkles disappeared. He's only 13, 14. But his face cleared up and he kind of smiled. And I was like, geez, my boy's back.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That's really great.
It was just an incredible time. And he's getting on really well. So I'm glad it's working out for you as well.
I'm glad it's working out for him too. And you.
Yeah. You're just too awesome for words, John, honestly. You're supporting me and my lad and all the rest of it. Spot on.
Yeah.
Right. I know we're almost at time, but is anybody?
I just got one more thing to say, because I know people might be quite private about how they are feeling, if they suspect maybe they might have ADHD or whatever. But I'm very happy to have any kind of one-to-one calls in confidence about it. And I can also show you how I went through the right to choose. If any of this resonates with you, just please reach out to me. And no pressure, would never be recorded, wouldn't go any further. But if you need help, then I'm here to help.
Fantastic. You are a people person through and through, honestly. I was just going to say, for maybe 2 minutes, if anybody has any questions, to fire them at Jon. I'm sure he'd be happy to
Yeah,
answer.
sure. And any questions? Any question is allowed, by the way.
Any questions? Any comments? Anything at all? The chat is busy.
Yeah. So Sandeep put, you're selling me to the idea of taking medication. Yeah. See, I did that CBT path, and it doesn't. I don't think it works for people with ADHD. I just don't think it works.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, I agree. I chose it purely because I thought I didn't want to go down to the medication and get dependent on medication, but I just wanted to explore this option. Having been diagnosed probably about 10, 11 months ago.
Yeah.
Again, I had similar experiences you mentioned. So yeah, I just thought I'll go down CBT route and see how it works, but I don't think it's working. So yeah, I'll have to wait for 2 years to get my, in the waiting list to get the medication. Let's see how it goes. But
well, Sandy, we can chat. I've actually, because so many people have been asking me about how I got the medication so quickly through Right to Choose and ADHD 360. As long as you're based in England, which I found out today,
yeah,
then I'll put a link to my blog post which shows you exactly how to do it.
Okay.
There's and you get prescriptions on the NHS. I've got no idea how they do it, and no one can tell me how they do it. I suspect it's got something to do with money, but yeah, you get NHS prescription prices even if your GP doesn't agree to a share care agreement.
Okay.
So yeah, it's well worth, and they're when people like when people kind of like try and do stuff for people with ADHD, and you just think, your communication's not so good. These guys, they are brilliant. They're very, very good. Yeah, and they know who they're dealing with.
Thanks. I'll contact you.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat so that people can see it.
Emma.
Yeah, hiya. This probably isn't for Jon, but I'm wondering, I know there are other women on the call, or there were other women on the call. I can't see everyone now. I suspect I have ADHD. I know Jon's also suspects that I have ADHD, and lots of other people. I found that menopause seemed to have a really big impact on my what all the things that are ADHD related. I feel like menopause just made it 100 times worse, and there are lots of things. I'm sort of coming out the other side of it now, and there are things now that I'm like, oh yeah, this I'm ticking all these boxes, but pre-menopause I don't think I noticed it as much. And I'm just wondering if there's anyone else on the call or anyone else who's experienced anything like that, maybe partners or sisters or whatever.
You should speak to my wife.
Right.
She has gone through exactly the same, Emma. She's going through menopause just now, and everything.
It's like everything that I
everything
could
is
handle
triggered.
and mask before, just now I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll gladly put you in touch with her.
Thank you. It's been the weirdest thing. I really thought I was going crazy because it's like, well, I was coping before, and why am I not coping now?
But she, I'll not make any excuses. She talks more than Jon. So if she gets in touch,
what me and her are going to be like on a call.
It's on your head, be it. So have a bottle of prosecco and stand by, because that's her other medication.
Quality. Can I come on that call, Emma?
I think you should definitely come on that call.
Right, we've got another hand
up.
It's me. Yeah, I started having this ADHD related diagnosis or stuff from perimenopause, and I was glad that I noticed it now itself. Otherwise, I didn't. I just put it down to rude behavior from me, but it's not just rude behavior. I'd say it's all of them, all of the other stuff which was accumulating ADHD symptoms more.
It's really interesting. My eldest son, who's 32 nearly, he got diagnosed last year and went on some medication this year. And it's a combination of him and John and a couple of other people saying, Mum, you've always been ADHD. Like this is just like, this is actually just you. Like, why have you not noticed this? This is really obvious. But definitely I'd say the last, well, I think I've been perimenopausal probably about 8 years now. So it's that kind